There's very little coincidence in the fact that both Marvel and DC released the exact same film last year. When I took screenwriting in school, it was drilled into our heads that the hardest part about filmmaking isn't necessarily the technical aspects, but rather it's the timing. Timing of a film's release can make or break that film. An otherwise good movie can fail to find its footing, while a generic movie can seem particularly poignant, and it's all as a result of when the film is released. That's why films such as Gangster Squad have to be changed when events in the film are too similar to real-life tragedies. As a result, filmmakers must in some ways be predictive. For an example of this, look no further than Batman. Both The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises have been picked over for their seeming references to the War on Terror and the Occupy Wall Street movement. However, when taking into consideration a typical production schedule, i.e. at least 3 months of post-production, that is, editing, processing, sound mixing, etc., 6 months to a year of actual on-set production, and probably 3 to 6 months of pre-production and planning, and all that's not including script writing. It's pretty clear that the films cannot be so narrowly focused. However, they are still focused. One of the ways that screenwriters are taught to combat this predictiveness is thematic writing, that is, curating a story based on the theme that needs to be conveyed. In those cases, the themes reflect the current cultural climate and happen to be released around the same time as the real-life breaking point. Other themes, though, tend to be more timeless. Take Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, for example. The theme is absorption blinds self. Greg is so focused on labels and his projects and himself that he is blinded to the nuances of Rachel or the limits of his friendship with Earl. In Robot and Frank, the theme is connection determines purpose. Frank lacks purpose at the start of the film. Through his connection with the robot and the robot's purpose to keep him healthy, Frank is able to divine his own purpose in life. Without their connection to each other, both Frank and the robot will have their memories wiped. Other themes are created through a combination of these two methods. Timeless themes are produced, but released during predictable events. The theme of 2016's Magnificent Seven, for example, is Unity Defeats Tyranny, and this is conveyed through the cast. Unlike previous incarnations of the Seven, the director, Antoine Fuqua, took special care to gather a culturally diverse cast. All groups are represented: Native Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans, and Hispanic Americans, not to mention Northerners, Southerners, immigrants, etc. And only by uniting can they hope to defeat tyranny in the form of Bogue. On the surface, this theme would appear to be timeless. However, it also reflects the cultural climate of when the film was released. It only makes sense that this type of film would debut during a US election year, a time when most of the United States unifies to participate in one activity, voting. Elections are predictable. They're scheduled in advance, and studios can count on them to happen. Therefore, the theme of Unity Defeats Tyranny is especially relevant during an election cycle. Going back to Marvel and DC, both Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice and Captain America: Civil War are about warring factions. The two films were released earlier in the election cycle. So, while the Magnificent Seven focuses on the conclusion, Marvel and DC focus on the struggle. This is not only evident in the films themselves, but also in the promotional materials, where Captain America and Batman are depicted in bluer tones, while Iron Man and Superman are depicted in redder ones. The two films' themes probably fall somewhere along the lines of war divides allies. All three films, The Magnificent Seven, Captain America: Civil War, and Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, relied on events that were going to happen at a specific time regardless, and were therefore able to target their themes so that the films upon release would be relevant to the culture, in hopes of boosting those films' financial successes. don't think the outcome of the election mattered much to the writers of The Magnificent Seven. I think they just got lucky. Like I said in the video, I'm not sure that they can be that specific. That being said, the theme definitely was targeted at the election, or at the audience that had the election on their minds. As a result, the film was probably more well received just because the theme was similar to what people were seeing during the election.
Like, comment, subscribe.